Welcome back to another episode of the Uncharted Podcast. Today I have a very close friend of mine, my friend Doug, and he's going to be talking about his time in the police force. He's going to be talking about his time as a deputy and what that entails, and some insight to his day-to-day life. And thank you for coming on.
My pleasure. Thanks for asking me.
And the first question I have is, what are the duties of a police officer?
Well, for a police officer, what you've got to think of is where in the organization are they? Sheriff's offices and city police and state all have a different size. State provides things to other agencies. A sheriff is elected constitutionally.
Okay.
A city chief, the commissioner, or whoever would be a superintendent or a public safety director, they're appointed typically by a city manager, city council, and such. So all those have different sizes with of groupings, but a patrol officer, a sheriff's deputy, a road officer on the state police, they all kind of have the same duties. The state police are going to tend to be on the highways more and deal with crime as they encounter it there. A deputy and a patrol officer on a department are going to be going to, say, domestics. They're going to go to crashes like probably maybe lower speed crashes, the city officer. But so it depends, but that call for service is the term that would be used for a patrol officer. And we've always tried not to lose sight of the patrol officer, the one everybody sees in the squad car running around. Yeah. They're really the backbone of any agency, because they're the first one that responds somewhere typically, that is the immediate help. Everybody else comes in and kind of takes the pressure off to take on the lengthy investigation or come and do the crime scene and such. But so a road deputy and a patrol officer can do relatively the same thing, only we always tease our deputies in Illinois that they were brown. But we'd always tease them about having to chase the cows and the horses. We didn't get near many of them in the city and all that.
I got you. Okay, so how do you get to the state trooper? So the state trooper would be the one, he's a third level?
Well, no, you have those different kinds of agencies. A statewide agency, a county-wide agency, which is the sheriff, and then a city. Some counties can have, like Kentucky, it's a little different. A lot of things are by county. I'm from Illinois, where I might say there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There could be 8 to 10 towns in that county. They all have their own police department. But then there's one sheriff for the whole county. And that sheriff typically could be the law enforcement for a town if they contract with the sheriff. Depends if they're incorporated or not incorporated. Okay. But most of the time they're there helping that one officer in that small town. Because to have your own police department in a city, there's a lot of responsibility, because you now have a lot of things you have to tend to. Training is a big expense, not to mention the liability and the squad cars and the other equipment's not near as much of an issue once you have them. But training is a big deal. So
with that training, I've heard that you go to, what's it called? You go into the police academy.
Correct.
Is that where it begins?
That's where it begins. And depending upon the requirements for hiring, you have to be a U.S. citizen, 21, in Illinois I'm talking. Mm-hmm. It's pretty comparable here in Kentucky, but there are some differences. But so I'll speak on Illinois. So that police academy comes once you're hired, once you've gone through the background process, which is very rigorous. As long as they hold that standard, then that's what you get in the end product when somebody actually hits the street, so to speak. But when you get hired, some places would require a degree. Mm-hmm. Like typically Illinois State Police required a degree. They recently said, we're not going to require a degree. We'll also accept service time at another department as experience and training. Okay. But a police department, so they could say you need to have an associate's or a bachelor's. Some would say, like when I started way back in '88, I went in as an 18-year-old and said, what do I need to do? And they said, keep your nose clean, we'll send you to school. So I got hired on when I was 24, and they sent me to University of Illinois for Police Academy. And back then it was like 400 hours, or it's been so many different things now. It's up to maybe 6 something now. I don't know if it's that high or not for sure, but.
Okay.